Welcome back to the CompTIA Security Plus series. This is episode 7, Application Security. We cover secure software development, SQL injection, cross-site scripting, buffer overflows, race conditions, and application security controls. This chapter maps to domain 2.3 and 2.4. Let's get into it. Security must be built into software from the very beginning, not bolted on after the fact. Modern software development uses a secure software development lifecycle that builds security checkpoints into every phase, from requirements gathering through deployment. Code moves through 4 environments in sequence. Development is where the code is written. Testing is where quality assurance happens. Staging is a near-perfect copy of the production environment used for final validation. Production is the live system that real users interact with. Changes should always flow through all 4 environments, never go straight from development to production. A web application firewall sits in front of web applications and filters malicious HTTP traffic. It can block SQL injection, cross-site scripting, and other web attacks before they reach the application code. Sandboxing runs untrusted code in an isolated virtual environment. Any damage stays contained. Code signing allows users to verify that software came from a trusted developer and has not been tampered with since release.
Injection attacks are common web vulnerabilities. SQL injection, or SQLI, involves an attacker inputting malicious SQL commands to bypass security. Cross-site scripting, or XSS, involves injecting malicious JavaScript, which executes in a user's browser. Both require strict input validation for defense. Buffer overflow occurs when an application receives more data than its buffer can hold, overwriting adjacent memory. This leads to memory injection. Race conditions involve a time of check to time of use gap. Unprotected APIs, lacking authentication, are also a major vulnerability. Application security controls help prevent and detect vulnerabilities. Key controls include server-side input validation, static testing, dynamic testing, fuzzing for unexpected flaws, and cookie security, utilizing flags like secure and HTTP only. SOAR platforms, or security orchestration, automation, and response, use scripting to multiply the effectiveness of your security team. Automation use cases include provisioning, security policy enforcement, and API integration. While offering efficiency, automation introduces complexity and technical debt risks. Here is an overview of application attack types. Remember, SQL injection and XSS are types of injection. Buffer overflows and memory injection deal with memory. Directory traversal, request forgery, and replay attacks focus on unauthorized access or impersonation. To recap, secure development involves 4 environments. Know the key terms. SQLI uses parameterized queries. XSS uses input validation and content security policy. TOCTTOU is a race condition. SAST is static code analysis. DAST is dynamic testing. WAFs block web attacks. Code signing verifies authenticity. Welcome to episode 8, focusing on identity and access management. We will cover AAA, MFA, SSO, RBAC, PAM, Federation, and various access controls. The foundation of access control is the AAA framework: authentication, authorization, and accounting. Authentication proves identity, authorization grants access, and accounting tracks actions. Multi-factor authentication requires 2 or more different factor types. Privileged access management controls and monitors admin accounts. Single sign-on, or SSO, allows one login for multiple systems. Federation trusts identity assertions between organizations. LDAP is a directory service. SAML is an XML-based standard for SSO, and OAuth is an open standard for authorization, granting limited access without sharing credentials. 4 main access control models exist. Role-based access control uses organizational roles. Discretionary access control grants control to the resource owner. Mandatory access control uses security labels enforced by the system. Attribute-based access control uses multiple user attributes. Finally, the principle of least privilege limits damage from compromised accounts. Authentication methods prove identity. Passwords are the most common, where NIST recommends prioritizing length. Hardware tokens use TOTP and cannot be phished. Certificates use PKI for strong authentication. Biometrics involve something you are, Passwordless methods replace passwords entirely. Account management is a lifecycle process. Provisioning creates accounts, and deprovisioning removes access. Access reviews prevent privilege creep. Ephemeral accounts are temporary and expire automatically. Just-in-time permissions are granted only when needed and automatically revoked, reducing standing privilege exposure. This IAM quick reference covers key terms by topic. Authentication factors are know/have/are/somewhere you are. The MFA rule requires two different factor types. Know the SSO technologies and the difference between authorization and least privilege. Remember biometric error rates. FAR lets the wrong person in. FRR blocks the right person. Let's quickly recap Episode 8. We covered the AAA framework, MFA requiring two different factors, and SSO technologies like SAML and LDAP. Remember the access models, least privilege, and PAM. For the practice question, the violation is least privilege, as access should be minimum necessary for the job. Welcome to Episode 9, focusing on resilience and physical security. This episode covers high availability, backups, disaster recovery site types, and crucial physical controls. High availability and resilience mean designing systems to keep running even when components fail. Techniques include load balancing to distribute traffic, clustering for automatic failover, geographic diversity to protect against regional disasters, and platform diversity to avoid single vulnerability takedowns. Effective backup and recovery requires distinguishing between on-site and off-site backups. Following the 3-2-1 rule, snapshots provide quick rollback. Replication copies data in real time for near zero data loss. Finally, remember to encrypt and regularly test all backups. Disaster recovery sites vary by cost and recovery time. Hot sites are fully operational for instant failover and highest cost. Warm sites are partially configured, requiring some restoration with medium cost. Cold sites are just empty spaces, the cheapest, but take the longest to bring online. Physical security controls are critical, as physical access bypasses technical defenses. Bollards prevent vehicle attacks, and access control vestibule, or man-trap, prevents tailgating. Access badges control entry and log events, while video surveillance and lighting provide detection and deterrence. Key disaster recovery metrics drive planning. The recovery time objective, or RTO, is the max time to restore a system. Recovery point objective, or RPO, is the max acceptable data loss. Mean time to repair, MTTR, focuses on repair speed, and mean time between failures, MTBF, measures reliability. Power and infrastructure resilience are key to uptime. Uninterruptible power supplies, or UPS, provide immediate battery power. Generators offer backup for extended outages. RAID storage provides redundancy if a disk fails. Journaling keeps a log of file system changes to prevent data corruption upon crash. To recap Episode 9, know the site types, the RTO-RPO metrics, and the 3-2-1 backup rule. Remember that clustering handles failover. For the practice question, an organization needing to restore operations within 2 hours with minimal data loss requires a hot site. Welcome to Episode 10, covering cloud and virtualization security. We will explore cloud service models, the shared responsibility model, virtualization threats like VM escape, and container security. The 3 cloud service models define responsibilities. IaaS requires the customer to manage the OS, applications, and data. PaaS requires the customer to manage applications and data. SaaS requires the provider to manage everything except user configuration and the data itself. The shared responsibility model states the provider is always responsible for security of the cloud, while the customer is responsible for security in the cloud. Misconfiguration is a major risk. Regardless of the model, data classification and access controls remain the customer's responsibility. Virtualization introduces unique security threats. VM escape is the most severe, allowing a breakout from a guest VM to the hypervisor. Resource reuse risks data exposure. Multi-tenancy means sharing hardware, increasing cross-tenant risk. Container security is vital, as containers share the host OS kernel. Cloud deployment models define ownership and risk. Public cloud is shared infrastructure with the highest risk of multi-tenancy. Private cloud is dedicated infrastructure offering more control. Hybrid cloud combines both. Multi-cloud uses multiple public providers, increasing complexity. Key cloud security controls include Cloud Security Posture Management, or CSPM, which checks configurations against best practices. A Cloud Access Security Broker, or CASB, sits between users and cloud services to enforce policies. Data sovereignty addresses legal compliance based on where data is stored. Serverless functions reduce the attack surface. This cloud architecture reference summarizes the key terms. Remember, IaaS manages the OS up, PaaS manages app and data, and SaaS manages data and user config. VM Escape is breaking out to the hypervisor, and CASB enforces security policy between users and cloud services. To recap, data is always the customer's responsibility. VM Escape is the most critical virtualization threat. For the practice question, the misconfigured S3 bucket is a customer responsibility under the shared responsibility model. The correct answer is B. Welcome to episode 11, focusing on endpoint security. We will cover endpoint hardening, advanced detection tools like EDR and XDR, asset management, and securing specialized systems like IoT and SCADA. Endpoint hardening reduces the attack surface. This includes timely patching, implementing host-based firewalls and HIPs, enforcing security settings using group policy, and always changing default passwords on new devices. Endpoint security goes beyond antivirus. EDR monitors behavior in real time to detect unknown threats. XDR extends EDR across network, email, and cloud for a unified view. Data loss prevention prevents sensitive data from leaving the endpoint, and full disk encryption protects data on stolen hardware. IoT devices often have weak security, so they must be isolated on a separate VLAN. ICS and SCADA control critical physical infrastructure, requiring careful security management due to real-time constraints. TPM and HSM are hardware modules used for secure key management and storage. Asset management ensures you secure everything you own. This includes maintaining a complete inventory, classifying assets by risk, securely sanitizing data on decommissioned hardware, and integrating security reviews into the procurement process. Security baselines are minimum configurations based on best practices. Configuration enforcement tools automatically correct any drift. To harden a system, remove unnecessary software and disable all unused network ports and protocols. SE Linux enforces mandatory access controls on Linux. Here is a reference of the key endpoint security terms. Remember EDR's focus on behavioral detection, XDR's extended scope, TPM and HSM's roles in key management, and the crucial distinction between the three sanitization types: clearing, purging, and destruction. To recap episode 11, EDR and XDR provide modern threat detection. TPM protects disk encryption keys, and isolation is key for IoT devices. For the practice question, FDE means the data is inaccessible without the key, making B the correct answer. Welcome to episode 12, covering network security. We will discuss zero trust architecture, various types of firewalls, IDS, IPS systems, VPNs, and essential network segmentation techniques. Zero trust means never trusting, always verifying. Access is granted based on context and device health, regardless of location. The control plane evaluates policy, and the data plane enforces it. Deception technologies like honeypots help detect attackers who have bypassed initial defenses. Network segmentation limits lateral movement. DMZs host public-facing servers. VLANs logically separate networks like guest and IoT traffic. An air gap provides complete physical isolation for critical systems. A jump server is a hardened intermediary for accessing high-security zones. Firewalls enforce policy. Layer 4 firewalls filter based on IP and port. Layer 7 or next-generation firewalls inspect application content. WAFs specifically protect web applications against common attacks. UTMs combine multiple security functions into one appliance, and load balancers provide availability. IDS is passive, monitoring and alerting on suspicious activity. IPS is active, blocking malicious traffic in real time, and must be placed in line. TLS encrypts web traffic, replacing SSL. IPsec secures network traffic at layer 3. DNS security utilizes filtering and DNS SEC to prevent malicious lookups.
Distributed denial of service attacks overwhelm a target with traffic from many sources. Amplified DDoS sends a small request to an intermediary, like a DNS server, that generates a much larger response directed at the victim. Reflected DDoS bounces traffic off innocent third-party servers to hide the attacker's origin. DNS poisoning injects false records into a DNS resolver's cache, redirecting users to malicious sites. DNS hijacking modifies DNS settings at the registrar or router level. An on-path attack positions the attacker between two communicating parties to intercept and potentially modify traffic. Proper TLS certificate validation defeats on-path attacks. Credential replay captures authentication tokens or hashed credentials and reuses them without knowing the actual password. Challenge response protocols and per-session tokens prevent replay. 802.1x port security requires devices to authenticate before gaining network access. EAP handles the authentication exchange, prevents unauthorized devices from connecting simply by plugging in. Memorize these protocol replacements and ports. HTTP, port 80, replaced by HTTPS, port 443. FTP, port 21, replaced by SFTP, port 22, or FTPS, port 990. Telnet, port 23, replaced by SSH, port 22. SMTP, port 25, uses SMTPS, port 465, or Start TLS on port 587. LDAP, port 389, replaced by LDPS, port 636. SNMP v1 and v2 on port 161, replaced by SNMP v3, which adds encryption and authentication. RDP on port 3389 should always be used with TLS and behind a VPN. Quick recap. Zero trust. Never trust, always verify. Verify every access request regardless of network location. A DMZ is the buffer zone between internet and internal systems. NGFW inspects at layer 7. IDS is passive detection only. IPS is active blocking inline. TLS protects HTTPS on port 443. SSH replaces Telnet on port 22. VPN creates an encrypted tunnel. DDoS, amplified, uses intermediaries to amplify traffic. Reflected bounces traffic off third parties. 802.1x requires device authentication before network access. Practice question. A security analyst needs to monitor network traffic for threats but cannot risk interfering with production traffic. What should they deploy? The answer is an IDS in tap or monitor mode. An IDS is passive. It only observes and alerts, never blocks, making it safe to deploy without any risk of disrupting legitimate traffic. Next episode, wireless and mobile security.